Hey friends, it's Lauren from StoneFab Business Intelligence. Today's video, we're going to show you the new operations reports that we've begun to deploy into your report portal. I want to show you a little bit of the magic that's happening behind the report so that you can better understand how we are producing the metrics and KPIs that you'll see in the report. And then we're going to take a little tour to help you find your way around, better understand the content that we're delivering in those reports. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and take a look. Once we deploy your report into your portal, you'll be able to log in and you should see a new line for the operations report. So just go ahead and select that. And it starts us out on the first page of the report. We're going to start though actually on the fifth tab, which is called Activity Mapping. And the reason I want to start here is because this will show you, I talked a little bit about that magic in the background that's happening. This is where you can see how we have your activity codes mapped for this report and a couple of the other properties that we're picking up as well. So if you remember, over the last couple of weeks, we've been collecting worksheets from each of you to help us onboard this new report. And now you can see where that information went. So if you look up here on the page, this top left section here is called Reporting Activity Definition. This is the list that you gave us that is going to give the what we call reporting activities and the order that they fall in. And then you also gave us how many days does this activity offset from installation. So this should echo the worksheet that you gave to us. And then this second panel up here in the top right called Current Activity Mapping. This shows you where each of the SPS activity codes in your system are mapping to the reporting activity that you defined over here. Now this does a couple of things. First of all, everybody's instance of SPS is different. Everyone has their own activity codes. They're in their own orders. They're called different things. And so we needed a mechanism to be able to kind of put everybody on the same playing field for reporting, so to speak. So this mapping activity allowed us to do that. But the other thing that this does is, again, very frequently we see where you might have activity codes in the system that really aren't related to the flow of work through the shop, which is really what this report bundle is all about. So this also gives you the opportunity to only look at those SPS codes that relate to the flow of work through the shop. So if you're ever uncertain about why you're getting the results you're getting in the report, or maybe as you look at the metrics, some things seem overstated or understated, the first place to go is over here on this activity mapping page so that you can see how your SPS activity codes are mapping to the reporting activities. Okay? All right, let's go over to the first tab. So here we are on the first tab of the report. This is going to show our production schedule by square feet. The second tab is the equivalent information, but it's the production schedule showing by T dollars. But let me give you a little tour of this first. So each page has these same three filters on it. It is the date filter, the project type filter, and the project status filter. We set the week start date filter up to be in a weekly format rolling up into year. And the reason we did that is it seems that most people would want to be looking at their schedule a week at a time, but you can still drill down into the week and select individual days. And just know that week start dates in the reporting system here is a Monday. So these dates that you see here should all be Monday dates. So you select your date range that you want to look at. And everybody has different project types and different project statuses in their SPS system. So we just expose them all, giving you the flexibility to pick and choose which project types you would want to include when we're looking at the data, and also which project statuses you would want to look at while you're assessing the data. So you can see here I've picked out a couple of project types for my demo, and I've also picked out a couple of project statuses. And so based on these three filters, I'm going to return SPS schedule information coming directly out of the system. And so let's break this down and see what we've got going on. So across the top, you'll see those reporting activities that you defined for us and we created. So here are mine. I go from template to program, staging, cutting, routing, finish, install, and then ultimately to invoice. And each of these bars represents that activity based on how they're color coded. And so for each day of the week, I can see by activity how many square feet are scheduled for that activity for that period of time, how many T dollars that equates to, the number of orders that activity is considering, and then I just break down how many square feet per order that turns into. So again, you can roll over any of these activities, and in your tip panel information, you'll get the breakdown. Now, of course, like all of our other visuals, you can roll this up into the week, so you can actually just get a week summary view, or I can drill down and break it down into the daily view for that week. You can look out multiple weeks if you'd like, so I can actually look out into the next week. If I roll that up, there's my summary. So very flexible on your date selections. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just consider this week here in our demo. And then, of course, as I were to add, change, or delete my filters, this would all update. So we're giving you that square feet view, and a couple things you can do with this, right? Since today is March 1st, I can be looking here at yesterday, and since I'm still looking at scheduled data, this might cause me some concern here. If I were to look at staging, I might question, well, why do I still have 932 feet of staging that hasn't yet completed based on yesterday's schedule, right? I can also look at this and very quickly see trends, right? So today, I'm not too heavy in cutting, but if I look out to the week, I can see that my cutting activity is going to be increasing throughout the week. So again, I might consider, is there something I can do to be clawing back that work into today's schedule? The grid here on the bottom gives you just kind of a different grid view of this information. So across the top, here are my activities by column. Here are my dates. So it rolls up to the week. I can drill down into the individual days, but then I can actually drill down into the particular day and see by order what are those activities that are scheduled. And again, like the other reports that we've put out in the portal, these actually can act as filters as well. So if I wanted to see the detail for, let's say, just cutting for today, I can click on that activity, and this panel will now filter down for the week of 2/28 on March 1. If I drill down here is the orders, and here is the square feet per order, and the square feet total for each of those orders. And again, I apologize, this is for routing, this wasn't for cutting. But you get the idea. You can click on any of these activities and get that summary view down here in the grid. Okay. So the second tab is exactly like the first. The difference is we're giving you this information in T dollars. So as opposed to square footage on tab 1, tab 2 is the same approach to the reporting except in T dollars. So you can go ahead and just, again, roll over and get that information, or get down here in the grid. You can filter if you like from up here. We can roll up and consolidate. We can drill down into the days. same behavior. These KPIs at the top, this is where we are attempting to calculate either T dollars or square footage that is flowing through the shop for the selected period of time and project types and statuses. Now, where this ties into the mapping is where we asked you to define for us, which activity should we use when estimating the period totals. So in my demo example here, I am using the cutting activity to make those estimates. So when you come over here and look at these KPIs on the top, this is actually using the cutting activity, in my example, to estimate the flow going through the shop based on the filter selected. Again, as you're spending some time with this and you find that perhaps these metrics aren't aligning as you think they should, we can go ahead and tweak, your either your mapping, or we can tweak, which fields we're considering when making those totals. Okay. So let's go to the third tab. The third tab is dedicated to installation activity. So if we look at this, again, my same filters carry forward. Here is the installation that is scheduled, the installation activity that is scheduled for each of these days. This graph here is giving me the number of square feet, but I can roll over that and also see T dollars and the number of orders. But then we're also calling out, again, from the SPS assignments, who are the installers to do that work. So we can see, again, for the period of time selected, here are my crews, here is the total number of square feet that they've got scheduled, the T dollars associated, and the number of orders that considers. So, you can, again, really quickly take a look, and I can see here that my PC3 crew has got a lot of orders coming up this week. I can drill in and see what are the project types. Well, they've got 8 custom installs and 3 regular installs. I might be able to just look at this and go, there's no way that crew can manage that this week. We got to get them some help. These also act as filters, right? So if I were to click on, say, today's activity or today's date, I can then filter down to see just for today what's the activity for each of my installers. And then the summary grid here gives me, for the date, it actually drills in down to the order level to show me what's the square footage, what's the T dollars, and the T dollars per order. So that is our install view. Now our fourth tab is called the Check Activity Dates report. And here's what we did. Here's a little bit of that magic I was talking about. So you remember when we were working on our mapping, you conveyed to us for each of the activities that I'm setting up, here are the number of days that activity should offset from installation. So install, the offset is 0, right? Install happens on install. In my example, QC and finish should happen 1 day before. Routing, cutting, and staging should happen 3 days before. Programming 5 days before. Templating 7 days before. So that is my configuration in this demo setup. So what we do now is we take that information, and by pulling the SPS activities, and I'm showing you here where that activity is mapping into your reporting, I am able to pull what is the SPS schedule date currently in the system. I can apply that number of days offset, and then we can provide the expected or the calculated installation date. So if I were to say, look at this order here for the cutting activity, well, cutting is supposed to happen on 3/7, and that should happen 3 days before install. So the way that this order is tracking, installation date would be on 3/10. But SPS is telling me that the installation date is actually on 3/9. So I'm currently tracking 1 day over that scheduled installation date. So the way that we configured this is the yellow warning is if an activity is tracking 1 day past the scheduled. The green status or the OK status means that we are tracking on or before the scheduled SPS date. If it is a red warning, that is telling you that it is tracking 2 days or more past the scheduled SPS install date. So the idea here is that you can use this as a filter. So I can very quickly just jump in and grab, anything that's in my check status, tracking 1 day over. I can actually look at my warnings very quickly. I can, if you want, just look at, we added a couple of extra filters over here where you can actually just select for a single activity. So if I want to look at just cutting, what are the statuses of my activities there? Or if I want to just look up a single order, I can either search on the order here. So if I want to say look at 540-1808, and look at that order, I can look at all of the activities for just that one order and see how we're tracking. So that's the end of our tour for the new operations reports in StoneFabBI. Hope you found that helpful. I really hope that you can make good use of the content. If you have any questions or issues, feel free to reach out to us. I'll go ahead and publish our email address here on the video. Or of course, you've got our contact numbers if you want to reach me here at StoneFabBI. So thanks very much and have a great day.